in 2.5 years ago in March, we had to cancel a trip to Guatemala the night before everyone left. And then, of course, the pandemic hit and we haven't been back. Hopefully, we'll speak with Dr. Ben Gar here in a minute, who's going to tell us about their trip, and Brandon Robinson as well. But we are grateful that they are all home. They had a wonderful experience, and we're up. I mean, we've got a group leaving in 10 days for the Dominican for a week, and then we have another group of 50 leaving for the Dominican Republic.
Nice.
2 trips coming up next March. We just opened up a trip next October to Guatemala and a trip next November to the Dominican, and they're filling fast. So excellent. It's just awesome to be back. You had a little activity while they were down there.
We did, yeah.
You ran the Leadership Academy down in Dallas.
We had TOPS Leadership Academy, first time in person in 2.5 years, last weekend in Dallas. We had dentists and front office team members from all over the country, coast to coast, that were with us for 2 days. And the focus on the dentist side was updating their business strategy. We rolled out a concept called the one-page business plan. So everybody had their strategy mapped out in one page. Less is more, simple is better. And we dealt with all things front office. So it was a very productive couple of days. We do that in kind of mastermind format. So there's a lot of doing, there's a little bit of lecture and a lot of doing. And we do that every 6 months. So our next one is in April 28th and 29th. All the information is at totalpatientservice.com. Our focus for the next Leadership Academy is all about the team. So on the doctor side, it's going to have everything to do with recruiting, onboarding, retention. We'll talk about team compensation and benefits. Its whole purpose is to map out your team strategy moving forward. We're in a totally different environment today than we were, 2 years ago in terms of recruiting and retention. And so we're going to do a complete update on that entire strategy so that everybody who attends has a fully built out game plan for staying fully staffed and retaining their team. And then we'll also be inviting hygienists to join us. So it's going to be all about hygiene productivity and productivity hacks. We're going to have some top performing hygienists that'll be presenting to the group on what they do and how they do it. So it'll be a great hygiene leadership roundtable as well. So all good stuff coming up. That's in April. And all the information registration is at totalpatientservice.com in the courses section. And speaking of courses, in 2 weeks, well, it's not in 2 weeks, in November. So November 18th and 19th, we're going to be doing our next Should You Be Insurance Free seminar workshop. This is a 2-day program that'll help you map out your relationship with insurance. It does not necessarily mean that you have to be going insurance free. That is one of the options. But we walk through the entire strategy and all the tools that you need to make a well-informed decision about your relationship with insurance moving forward. There's a lot changing in that space. I edited a letter last night for Doctors Webster and Tonelli in Massachusetts. There is a question on the ballot in the state of Massachusetts that will be voted on Election Day in November that, if passed, will hold dental insurance companies to the same standard as medical insurance companies in terms of the percentage of premiums that have to go back and be spent on patient care. That has not been the case to date, and there's a referendum in place to make that happen. So there's a lot going on in the insurance space in every state around the country. State of Missouri, thank you to the efforts of Dr. Michael Hoffman, who's part of the Crown Council family and the Missouri Dental Association. They actually got legislation passed that requires insurance companies like Delta Dental but it requires them, if the dentist chooses, that the check be sent to the dental office, even if the practice is out of network. They've been known to will only send it to the patient, and the state of Missouri, the legislature passed a bill requiring them to send it to the office that the dentist chooses. So I could go state by state on everything that's going on with insurance. And it is causing a lot of practices, a lot of dentists to reconsider what their relationship is going to be there moving forward. So should you be insurance free, November 18th and 19th here in Dallas, Fort Worth. And again, all that information is at totalpatientservice.com. So it's a good time to reevaluate that relationship and spend a couple of days getting the right tools in place to make the right decision.
I should say, Steve, that of the questions that we get in the Crown Council office, that insurance and how it is used is one of the most common thing that's asked. And I know this, the seminar you created is in response to how many times you had to answer the question when it was asked. And is this the second or third of these that you have held, but to rave reviews that the people who have attended have said not only is it worth their time, it changed the direction of their thought pattern. So
yeah, it's we've been doing what we've been doing here for a minute or two.
So is that your first rodeo?
30 plus years. And I told David Phelps Group on Saturday. So David Phelps is one of our research partners with Freedom Founders, and I had the opportunity to do their keynote presentation on Saturday. And one of the things I shared with them that I share with a lot of people is in the 3 decades that we've been doing this, we are seeing and helping more practices go out of network, go insurance free. More of that going on today than we have ever seen in 30 years. So there is a movement afoot, and it's going to change the face of dentistry, I believe, for the positive. But there is a separation taking place, and it is possible. We have practices all over the country that are insurance free. We have others that are hybrid. We have others that are contracted. There's no one right way to do it. It depends on your market. It depends on your patient base. And so that's what we do is help navigate through that decision-making process.
Terrific. Well, I understand in our waiting room, we have Dr. Ben Gar. Let's bring Ben in. Ben was our Crown Council leader into Guatemala, and we want to hear about his experience. So,
there he is.
Dr. Ben.
Hello.
What's up, Ben?
How is it to be back in the office, my friend, without a spit cup and a bus?
I did learn how to say spit in Quechua, so I did.
Oh,
learn
and wow,
in Quechua, really?
Yeah.
All right,
we're ready.
How do you say it?
Chuba.
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 I like it.
Because
So
there's two
you had
Colombia.
more Indian speakers than you did Spanish speakers. Would that be fair?
Yeah, of the people, yeah. The
That's
locals
awesome.
mostly speak Quechua.
Very good.
Ben, as the leader of this fearful band who went for the first time,
Fearful or fearless?
I mean, I have not talked to you since you got home.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would love, as everyone else would, to hear about the experience of getting back to Guatemala and going to a completely new part of the country.
Well, and that was the odd thing, right? So I hadn't been back since March of 2019, and we had that clinic there, and it was all set up. It was really nice. So yeah, going to a whole different area was, I wouldn't say unnerving, but just we didn't know what we were gonna have, didn't know what to expect. Which was also kind of exciting too, because we were all in the same boat. So we went to a different location, different part of the country, way up in the mountains. I don't think there's a straight road in Guatemala, like the whole country. So it's just windy all the way up. But we had a great time traveling and being together. So it was a great group.
I wonder if it would be fun. I understand Brandon's in the waiting room.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we bring him on and
Bring him on.
maybe the two of you could talk? DJ,
Yeah.
why don't you bring Brandon online and let's get the full story here.
There
Hey,
they are. Brandon, how are you? Oh, there he is.
He answers to El Guapo.
El guapo, ¿qué pasa?
That's
Brandon, is that what they called you? Is that what they called you in Guatemala?
Well, that's what Ben called me. I don't know if the other ones called me that, but you know, what can you do? What can you do?
El guapo dentista.
he didn't have his name.
Man,
badge
did they make special requests? Like, I want to see him.
Yeah, we had a long line of people.
I don't know about that.
The request line.
how do you
We
two
were-
know each other?
We
What's
went to
that?
dental school.
You went
Oh,
to dental
did you?
school
Okay.
together?
Yeah, so it's been like 20 years since I met Brandon, and so we go back a long ways. That was one of the best things about the trip was not just going and doing a humanitarian trip, which they're always great no matter what, but when you can spend it with someone you know well, it's even better. So it was fun to have Brandon along.
Yeah, it was. It was great.
Brandon, is this your first Guatemala run?
Yeah, first trip to Guatemala. I've been on a few other humanitarian trips, but first time to Guatemala. Yeah.
So memorable moments, you two. Give us a couple of memorable moments.
I think the one that stood out the most to me was, well, I guess there's two. One is, and this was kind of a unique thing that happened. So we're going in the rainy season, and we have and actually the weather was great while we were there. But a few days before we got there, rain had washed out the dirt road that led to the clinic. The whole path from Guatemala City up to where we were staying was all paved, except for this one turnoff, and that's the way we get to the clinic, and it's about 35-40 minutes or so on this dirt road. But the culvert got washed out with some rains and flooding that we had just like 2 days before we get there. And it's, when I say the road, there's only one road to the clinic.
The road was washed out.
The road was washed out. So our awesome Choice Humanitarian partners down in Guatemala kind of were rushing to get things working. And so one of the coolest things was seeing pictures of the Choice Humanitarian group, the team down there literally carrying the fridge and all sorts of equipment across this hole in the ground. They laid planks and things across it. So it was really cool to see just the dedication of the Choice Humanitarian team on the ground in Guatemala. And it started before we even got there. So it was really kind of cool.
Brandon, tell us about the reception you got from the community. We saw pictures, but
Yeah, you know, I didn't expect that at all. And I mean, most people that were sitting around me, they didn't have a dry eye. That was pretty special, you know, to arrive. And I don't know, Ben, there was probably 300 people there.
Like the whole town.
Yeah. And, you know, one of the things that I thought was really amazing is they sang their national anthem to us, and they asked us to sing ours to them. And then they had these young children do a dance, a special traditional dance for us in their traditional dress. And that was just incredible. I mean, they received us with such love, and it was pretty amazing. And then at the end, they asked us to get up and dance. And
Wait, are you going to
You
give us
too?
a demo? I think you need to give us a demo, boys.
I got a bum ankle.
That would have been my excuse too. Yeah.
Right. But I just had these great pictures of our team like dancing with one another and seeing kind of these barriers of our North American culture kind of being more reserved. It's just kind of being more open, and it was amazing. And even into the night, they played that marimba till what, Ben? Like 10 o'clock at night. They were just
Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
we
It was
left,
super
yeah.
cool. It was amazing. Yeah.
So did you guys get, did you guys walk in? How did you get in?
So when the first day we were going to take everything up there to set up the clinic, they had a truck backed up and scooping the last bit of dirt over that culvert. So we
Gotcha.
drove in. We were able to drive in, but it was like to the last minute.
Gotcha.
And then the day after it reflooded.
Yeah.
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 I couldn't believe that.
Yeah. That whole area flooded again as we left the country.
One of the most often questions we get from people who have never gone on a humanitarian trip with us is what kind of dentistry do you do while you are there? And of course, I tell them we try and do something for everyone and not everything for someone. But over 3 days, you guys treated like 350 patients. Do you want to give just a little visual explanation of what you saw in a community that hasn't seen a dentist probably ever?
Best new patient flow you've had in your right?
They're just lining up.
That short period of time.
And that was the coolest thing, is just to see, we show up at the buses, but by the time we show up, there's just a whole host of people waiting for us. And they were so kind and just gracious they hadn't seen a dentist. They haven't seen Americans in this community. So that was kind of neat, but they were patient. They sit, they're caring. They're very appreciative of what we're doing, even though we can't do everything and see everyone. They're very appreciative. So yeah, mostly extractions. Sugar has just destroyed mouths down there. So from the time a kid's about 2 to 3, it's just starting to bomb out all their teeth. So it's very rare to see somebody with most of their teeth.
Really?
So we do a lot of extractions, some fillings if we can save some of the teeth in the front, so people have a little bit nicer appearance, maybe for a job or something. And that's where we'll do some root canals on 8 or 9, a couple front teeth maybe, just to save some front teeth. But a lot of extractions.
I think a lot of hygiene. We did a lot of cleanings. I think we could have used maybe 5 ultrasonic scalers. The hygienists, they were going nonstop just to try to get them where they needed to be.
Yeah, we took an ultrasonic scaler down and they were loving it.
I bet. They probably haven't seen that much calculus in years.
Yeah.
Tell us about the dental students. Now, we had 5 on the trip.
Yep. So last time we had 3, we had 5 this time. They have a unique situation right now because the dental school in Guatemala City the public dental school has kind of shut down for various political and different reasons. They're hoping that it will open back up again, but in the meantime, these students have not done dentistry for a bit, nor can they finish their program and get their license and start practicing. So they're kind of just sitting, and then they got a call, I guess, from us to come along with us. So they were super excited to get back into dentistry and be a little bit more energized by being around some dentists and stuff. So it was really fun to mentor them.
So
I believe they have go ahead, Steve.
their careers are on hold until the dental school opens again. Wow.
Yeah.
And
They have a public service commitment, as I recall, there, where they're required to give a year's worth of public service after school before they practice, or or something?
Yeah,
like-
they were talking about something that was like an 8 month something. Maybe that's what it was. And so they all have to funnel through this one kind of commitment. So, but they were really fun to be with, and they were a great group.
I think that
We put
was,
them to work too.
that was another cool aspect of the whole of the trip, right? Is to kind of see them being discouraged and us kind of be, maybe that sounds like we did something grandiose, but it was cool to see them kind of gain some additional momentum because they were discouraged. They shared with us, they were in tears, but they really appreciated the experience because we were all working together for this great cause and we were all benefiting from it. And especially the students, right? They were able to get some experience and form friendships and support. So I thought that was really great.
Yeah.
What would you guys tell another dentist, another team, if they were thinking about considering, or maybe not even considering, taking a week to do some humanitarian dentistry, either in the DR or Guatemala? What would you tell them?
I think you can't lose. When I went the first time to Guatemala with my daughter 3 years ago, we had just been on a cruise. So, we all tend to kind of travel and do some things that are fun.
Yeah.
And on the way back from Guatemala, from the airport, I just said, "Hey, so what did you think about Guatemala?" And she said, "I would much rather go on the Guatemala trip than on a cruise."
Wow.
And
How old is
so she? Now she's 18. She's in college now. But that to me is kind of the answer. My answer to that question is yeah, we can go on vacations and do really fun things, but this is one of those momentous type of experiences that you will never forget, and it's life-changing. And if you can share it not just with your own team, but with a great friend. I'm so glad Brandon came along with us, and I took my 12-year-old son this time, so it was eye-opening for him, and a lot of growth that can happen in a young person in that kind of age.
What was the 12-year-old response?
He had to do like a 20-minute presentation in his class when he got back on Monday. And he just had a great time. He was talking about how he was playing soccer with the kids, doing all these different things. But he said, we're blessed with so many things in our little world that these kids just don't have. They don't have a jump rope, and they don't have a ball or these bubbles that they're playing with, and all these different things we just take for granted.
Or an Xbox, or a cell phone, or
and the list goes on, right? So it was eye-opening for a 12-year-old. So it was good.
Very cool.
So O'Hare and Hortensia from Choice are going to come up for the annual event.
Yeah.
And we're going to welcome them to Salt Lake City, and it's our time to kind of celebrate with them and with you what we have done. Tell us a little bit about those two. Just they're in country. They spend all of their time there. I'd be interested in your perception of the leadership of Choice in country.
I messed up my flight and got in a little earlier. I was supposed to be on the flight with Ben, but so I got to spend a couple of hours alone meeting Hortensia and O'Hare. And wow, I mean, talk about some exceptional individuals. They just were so loving and kind, and just the effort that they put in to make sure that everything runs smoothly. I mean, logistically trying to make this all run as the way it did. They're amazing. And their team, even the team that they have associated with them, they're just, I don't know. It was super cool just to build those relationships with them. And that's something I'll cherish forever.
Yeah, you won't find a better couple than those two. And they took my 12-year-old Sam under their wing like the whole time. And they just look after the whole team as if they're their own children. And we got to meet their children too, actually. We played soccer with them a little bit, but just super good couple, and kind and caring and considerate, and everything that the Crown Council kind of stands for and principle they embody in what they do every day.
Well, thank you too. Thank you for your service. Sincerely.
Oh, thanks.
And Ben, thank you for taking the responsibility to lead out.
It was fun.
Marcy shared with me when she got back what a great leader you are, and hopefully that's something you'll consider doing again. And Brandon, the same. It's always looking for guys that rise to the top that want to take the responsibility on to lead a group. And I know when you have 30 or 35 people, it's a big responsibility, and we're grateful for it. Thank you too.
Boys need
Thank
to
you.
brush up on your bridge building skills, just in case.
Great. Thank you too. We'll
Thank
let you get back to work, and thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.
Take care. Bye.
Wow.
Nice
Two
to be
good
back.
men.
Yeah,
Two-
nice.
Two
Back
good-
at it again. That's how many years we've been doing humanitarian expeditions? But 12?
Our first one was 2007. So I'll let you do that math, but we have now done over 60 humanitarian trips. And I mean, we are backed up. We're doing 5 in a 6-month period,
Nice.
and a possibility in a year cycle of doing almost 7. So there are a lot of people with a lot of interest, and it's wonderful to Roy Hammond promised me when we went on that first one that it would change my life. And, you kind of scoff at that a little bit, but for sure, that's a true thing.
Experience. Great experience.
We have Mary Beth Brown in the waiting room.
Excellent.
While she
Coach's
is,
corner.
Coming in, do you want to give the Mary Beth Brown background and commercial, Steve? I think we're in the office of Dr. Chad Stutzman today. Stutzman Dental.
Hello.
What's up, MB? How are
Hi,
you?
guys. Welcome from Goshen, Indiana.
Love Goshen, Indiana. So, as everyone knows, Mary Beth is one of our tops coaches for many, many years. And this is our coach's corner. And she is today in a 2nd generation Crown Council office.
I am.
Yes. So this is a long time. I think Greg Chad's dad was one of our original
members,
and Chad and his wife have just continued to build an amazing practice in Goshen, of all places. And so Mary Beth, tell us what you guys have been working on today.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, this is the 21st year for Dr. Danielle to practice, 19th in this location. And of course, Chad came right in. He was previous, so he's 23 years here at the office. And Gene, the former Stutzman, yep. Right? And branding of the community and the practice. It's a great legacy to be able to be a part of. And TOPS has been a part of this family with Gene. So back in the very beginning in 96 and 97 as a Crown Council member. And then we came back in 2016 with the Stutzmans. And our main goal has been this entire time creating a dual front between both Dr. Chad and Dr. Danielle to be partners and leaders in their practice, to divide and to conquer. And so it was just a redevelopment of roles and responsibilities and accountability in the team, from team meetings to, check-ins that we do on a yearly basis with the team members. So that's been our long-term goal. And Dr. Chad right now is with his daughter, the youngest, Charlie, who's 12, getting an award at school. So he said he wished he could be with us, but he might be back before we leave. And he said, if I could tell you why we have TOPS in the office, it would be so that you could create the business model that you want the most and have that balance in life that allows you to not work to live, but live to work, right? Do what you do the best.
That is very, very, very well put in their case. With two dentists that also are married, part of that strategy is making sure that the setup is not running to mom if you don't get what you want from dad.
Correct. And Steve, that was what was happening back in 16 when we came. And if what you don't continue to reinforce, the law of entropy really happens quickly.
Yeah.
And so the accountability has been fabulous. And it's so great to watch the two of them work together and strategize. They have worked their schedule now so that every 90 days they take a week off.
Nice.
So that they're able to really, live the scheduling. In fact, we're rolling out 2023's working day schedule this on-site, so that we can get that calendared for all of next year and make sure that that system stays in place. Dr. Chad says he's a lot better person to be around if we can get him out of the office every 90 days.
Good to have some recharge time. I'm
Absolutely.
always interested in practice setup. And so in their case, are both Chad and Danielle in the office seeing patients always at the same time? Do they stagger their schedule? How do they do it?
Oh, that's a great question, Steve. So they have both admin days. So 3 days a week they see patients, and 1 day a week each does admin, whether that be here at the office or working with their children, right? So that somebody's always available on the home front. Because as you know, they've got the 4 children, 2 are in college now, and 1 is on a dentistry path. So we're probably going to be in generation 3 here in about 4 years.
I love it.
Which is pretty cool. So they orchestrate that admin day. Dr. Danielle's day here is Wednesday to be seeing patients, and Dr. Chad is out doing the things he needs to do, or IT. And then on Thursdays, he takes his day to see patients, and Dr. Danielle's off doing the things she needs to do.
Gotcha.
She does and specializes. She's a general dentist that takes care of all the pediatrics in the office.
Gotcha.
And one of the biggest game changers for her has been Healthy Start in the last several years, and bringing that in and incorporating that into the pediatric aspect of the practice.
So explain Healthy Start for somebody who may not be aware of what it is.
Oh, happy to. So Healthy Start is a habit correcting device that is utilized during the pediatric area till the children start getting their secondary dentition. It can be used longer, but here in this instance, we're using it while their primary teeth are in place, and it helps reposition the tongue, Steve.
Aha.
So it works a lot with reforming the arches and repositioning the tongue. So it's a habit corrector, if you might.
And any impact on airway?
Great impact on airway. Good question. So we can start as early as 3 years of age with children utilizing the Healthy Start habit corrector.
Nice.
Tell us a little bit about the culture of the practice, Mary Beth. One of the things that I admire about the Stutzmans is their regularity over the last 25 years in Smiles for Life. This is a practice that has raised over, well, I can't remember the exact amount, but well over $200,000 for Smiles for Life over 25 years. Talk about the culture of how they do that.
Greg, that is such a great question. They are firmly implanted in the humanitarian aspect and philanthropic aspect of branding in the community. And so they've utilized the Smiles for Life health program, if you might, to be able to share with the people within the community the good that can be done. As we've always said, the patients give to us, we give our services, and then the suppliers offer the product so that it's a win for everybody. And they advertise nonstop. In fact, Billy Joel tickets were on the market this last time at Notre Dame, because that's just about an hour away from Goshen. And they had a life-size banner behind the desk, the reception desk, that was to enter 2 tickets to Billy Joel that tie along with it. And they just come up with the most creative ways to really share with the patients of and the community how to be able to help and impact Smiles for Life. So I think they just live it.
I know they have a 20-year relationship with the Boys and Girls Club of Goshen. And, I suspect that's part of it, is that they're out in the community and have a long-term relationship with somebody who's also doing good.
Look who's going to join us.
There
Dr.
she is.
Danny.
Wow. Wow.
Gail, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. We've I hope your ears were burning because we've been sitting here talking about the amazing things you guys can do. So glad to see you could join us.
Yeah.
We were
Sure,
just, Danielle, we were just talking about the Smiles for Life Whitening campaign
Yes.
and your relationship with Boys and Girls Club,
Yes.
which has been ongoing for a couple decades.
It's been ongoing since the beginning of Smiles for Life when Gene started that.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time.
So beyond raising money that benefits them, what else do you do with that organization during the year?
I used to be on the board. Gotten a little busy with the kids. I can't do that anymore. But if they have a kid who is in need of dental services, mom and dad can't afford it, they send them my way and I usually take care of them
Nice.
at no cost.
Very cool.
Mhm.
So that is
I was sharing last year, you guys had Billy Joel tickets for sale or for auction.
We did. We had Billy Joel tickets for sale. Well, whoever whitened their teeth, we put their name in a drawing and then they got to go see Billy Joel.
Great idea.
Yeah, it was fun.
Great idea.
Mhm.
a fun deal. Danielle, what is, we were just talking about, the whole Crown Council mission of creating a culture of success for you. What is your favorite positive culture impact activity or idea or thing that you love to do the most with your team that makes it a great place?
Well, our team we're just a big family. We like to have fun. We try to do things outside of the box, not just here at the office. For instance, next week, we're taking team members who are available and who want to go on a wine tour.
Nice.
We have a lake house just north of the office, about half hour north. Once a year, we get the team, their families, their kids together for a big cookout picnic. We've done bowling. I mean, every few months, we try to do something to break up the monotony of dentistry, because as we all know, dentistry can be very stressful.
Right.
So
Cool.
I
Very
shared with them one of our goals is to every 90 days take a week off.
yes, absolutely.
And that's working. You're
Yes.
making it happen.
Yes.
Very good. We talked just real briefly before you came in, and Mary Beth gave us a beautiful quote from Chad about the value of a coach. So what would you say for you has been and continues to be the value of having a coach?
Oh my gosh, she's my right arm. When we have an issue, she's my first call, my first email, text, and I know that she's going to be there for us no matter what. We're going through some issues right now where we're losing a hygienist, and the market up here getting a hygienist is going to be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everywhere. I know on all my blogs that I'm on, everyone's just struggling.
Yeah.
So the first thought was, well, shoot, Mary Beth, what do we do?
Right.
So yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. I know, and it doesn't matter where she's at. I know that I can call her and she's going to be there for us.
Very cool. Now, you got a couple of days of very focused work. While Mary Beth is there. Focus of what's going on this week, because every time it's different, but while you're together, what's the focus this week?
The focus this week is retraining our front desk, especially now that we're transitioning from 3 to 2 hygienists, and I'm going to be picking up the slack in hygiene for a little bit on the kids only. Transitioning and using our verbal wordage to move patients where we want them to go. So that's our focus tomorrow. We've been doing a little bit today. We broke the news to the team today that I will be taking over kids hygiene on Wednesdays just to help make it a little easier on our other 2. And now they did a little panic mode, but I think not bad. And so Mary Beth is really working with the front desk today to find who we need to move, where we need to filter them, and the verbiage on how to get them to do what we want, not what they want.
So Steve, I thought 3 ways to a yes might be
There you go.
really best
I've heard of
tool.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're revisiting that hard tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the donut
No.
principle.
Yes.
Yeah, no question that we are in challenging scheduling times for
Yes.
sure. And having the right verbal skills and the right systems in place makes all the difference. Even just holding the schedule together with
Mhm.
all the moving around. I think COVID unknowingly taught everybody that they can just bail out on a commitment with a sneeze.
Exactly. The
Right.
number of calls, I'm sure you hear it, the number of calls we get like, oh, I woke up and I've got a scratchy throat or I have a fever and they sound just fine. And I'm like, really?
Exactly.
Come
right?
on.
Really,
Yeah.
that
Pinocchio,
excuse?
your nose just
Yeah,
grew.
Pinocchio, your nose is growing.
And you can't really say anything about it.
No, there's nothing you can do.
It's a different ball game today. And so it takes even a greater effort, even, more skills, more training to be that
Mhm.
much more
Mhm.
on the game to be able to keep a productive schedule in place and
Yeah.
add in the hygiene variable. It's challenging times. And like we always say that within every setback and challenge, there is the seed of an opportunity to
Absolutely.
figure something out and do something better. To wrap up, Danielle, in all of the years that we have worked together, it's been a minute or two
Oh, yeah.
in every area, Crown Council, Smiles for Life, TOPS, the whole deal. What advice would you have, or if you were going to go back and talk to you, 20 years ago? You're celebrating 20 years, I guess, this year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What would you tell yourself, your 20 year self, that now that you would have been great to know then, that you've learned by experience?
I think the hardest thing for me, and Mary Beth knows this, is taking a leadership role in the practice. I was never that type of person. And with coaching, with Crown Council, with the tools and books that you've given me, I would go back to my 20-year-old self and say, hey, listen, you got to put on your big girl panties and let's take charge and do this. My life and my anxiety has gotten a lot better since I've taken that go-getter, take charge attitude.
Love it. Yeah, it's a process.
Mm-hmm. It is. It was very difficult for me.
Yeah, and I don't know that.
You're doing it beautiful.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't know. That is not an overnight thing. That's a continuous journey, never ending. Is learning the skills and putting those into place, and especially when you have a 2-leader practice like this you do. And we were joking that it would be very easy in a practice like yours for the team to figure out or try and figure out, if they don't get the answer they want from dad, they'll run to mom.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot like having kids, is what Chad and I talk about.
Right.
Yeah. But they've kind of figured out that doesn't work.
Or you got to dial
They
in.
talk, yeah.
You got to.
Yeah, they know that Chad and I talk. It doesn't matter if on Thursdays he's not here, but he knows if something's going on, and he'll say, damn it, I told him this yesterday. And I'll be like, oh, I didn't know that. So we take care of it. They've learned they can't double.
No double back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just, I want to compliment you again, just on the amazing job that the two of you continue to do to build on, we always say build on the shoulders of giants. I mean,
Mhm.
Gene started something great, and you two have just expanded it and continue to grow it, and and all the things you do. So congrats on that, and
Great, thank you.
thank you for making Crown Council part of your culture of success formula and TOPS part of your case acceptance and
Absolutely.
yes, it's great to be associated with you. So thank you.
Great, our pleasure. Yep, looking forward to Crown Council, Salt Lake City, right?
Right?
Yeah, January.
Yes.
Maybe in January. You got
Yep.
it.
Very
So-
good.
Mary Beth, thank you for
Thank you,
taking
guys.
out of your coaching day to get us all together.
Happy to do it. You caught us right at our lunchtime.
Yes.
So it was perfect.
Yep.
Thank
We're going to
you.
go back and take great care of the patients the rest of the afternoon. You guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for coming into the Coach's Corner.
Thank you,
See you in
guys.
a few months.
Bye.
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 They're two good people.
Very much so.
I thought what you were going to say is that Mary Beth was your top coach. You said tops coach, and I was ready to,
She is that too.
she is a marvelous woman.
Yep.
Steve, we have Christy Bolts in the waiting room. There she is. What a sweet woman.
There
Look
she is.
who's there.
Christy Day.
Does she have audio? Can she hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, first thing, Christy, is before we introduce you, you're going to introduce what you're wearing and what it means to you.
I am wearing my Challenged Athletes Foundation pullover because tomorrow morning I will be on a plane to California to return to the $1 Million Challenge, which is a 640-mile bike ride down the California coast from San Francisco to San Diego over 7 days, raising money and awareness for challenge athletes. And I have not been to this thing that I love so very much since 2018. I had planned to go in 2020.
Had a little hiccup, did you?
We were raising money, right? And all of us had to cancel things. And I had planned to go in 2021, and I had a little bit of a speed bump, but it's 2022.
Nice.
And I'm
Well,
headed back.
congratulations. 7-day bike ride.
7 days.
Very cool.
So for those who do not know you, Christy, you are the CEO of My Dental CMO.
It's a lot of
And,
letters.
Yes, and your life experience in dentistry spans 15 to 20 years, but what you are, at least in my mind, is a experienced market advisor who develops a marketing plan so that you can be competitive in the marketplace regardless of where you practice. How did I do?
Exceptional.
So teach us a little bit here today. If you were seeing a practice for the first time,
Yep.
Or if you're looking at the broad landscape of people who you help, what is it that you are seeing today that brings the most new patients into a practice? Or if that's not the right question, ask yourself a better question.
No, that's a great question. And, Steve was just talking about the culture of success with our previous guest. And so a culture of marketing that cultivates a first-class cabin is by far the most successful strategy. And intuitively, most dentists know this, right? We know that word of mouth brings us the best patients, but we get busy or we have changes in team members and our marketing culture falls off. And then we have to start again. And so the easiest way to explain this is if I were to give you a penny, Greg, and we doubled that for 15 days, and everybody knows I'm a math nerd. How much money would you have in 15 days if I doubled your penny every single day?
I don't remember the answer to this, but our father ran us through this once, and my answer is a lot.
Okay. In 15 days, if a penny doubles, you'd have $163.84. And you kind of go, well, compared to a penny, that's pretty good. Okay?
Yeah. Times
If a
10 or
penny-
times 100.
Yeah. If a penny doubles for 30 days, do you know how much you have?
That's a lot more.
$5,368,709. And so people go, yeah, it's really not that big of a deal if we have a habit for 2 weeks or we have a habit for 4 weeks. But the culture of cultivating your first class cabin is the first step to take. And most people don't even know where their first class cabin is. So that's we start there, right?
Yeah.
And once you've determined that, man, be off and running, because then everything you do digitally, your website, your conversion funnel, your search engine optimization, your pay-per-click advertising, your social, your reviews, supports and enhances that. I don't have to hear people going, gosh, Christy, I have plenty of patients, but they're the wrong kind of patients. Okay. Or I get patients to come in and they just won't do anything past $999. Okay. And many of us are having those conversations now because the fund budget has been overtaken by inflation. And so the fund budget is looked at for, well, now we've got to invest some money in dentistry that we used to spend on fun. And you're not going to do that without a first class cabin at all. So your first class cabin, and the verb is cultivate. And I think those of us who have finished picking our summer tomatoes, although I talked to a friend of mine in Salt Lake and you guys have had exceptional weather. She's
still on the
pulling
vine.
tomatoes.
Yes,
Yep.
they're still on
Ours
the vine.
are not. Ours are frozen, right? So we're cultivating that. And the most important time for many farmers after this rich harvest is that time period for planning and preparation. And we're coming into the fourth quarter, which for most of our Crown Council Eagles is a time for planning and preparation. But never fear, if you've never cultivated your first class cabin, it's not too late. You can start today. Okay.
Very cool. So this time of year, Christy, what are some things that you recommend as part of that planning and preparation process? What are the questions that everybody should be asking themselves?
Great question. Thank you for asking, Steve. There's 3 things you need to know. Number 1, you need to know the new patient value over the last rolling 12 months. No reason to wait till the end of December when our reports are nice and clean. You could run it today for October 14th of 2021 through October 13th of 2022. Pick the most recent 12-month period. Look at your new patient report. Look at the production generated on those patients in that time period. In Dentrix, it's the new patient summary. In Open Dental, it's the new patient referral report. In EagleSoft, it's the referral analysis. Every software has a report that'll do this math for you. In many cases, some people find that referral sources haven't been loaded into the computer all year. And so now that's a good opportunity to recommit so that we can be perfect next year. Okay. And once I have that number, my production divided by the new patients, that's my average new patient value. You need to know that. And for clients that I've worked with for 10 years, we look at that every year. Obviously, the goal is to see it go up, but there were periods where it's gone down. Okay, what can we do to correct that?
Yeah.
A new patient value, number 1. Number 2, find your first class cabin. That whole 80-20 rule that we talk about all the time absolutely applies. So let's go find the top 20%. Let's say your average new patient value is $1,500. Let's go find everybody that did more than 5. For most practices, it's less than 50 people. And you know what's a great exercise at your next team meeting? Just put 10 of those names on a sheet of paper and hand it out. And ask your team, what do all these people have in common? And you'll get Well, they're all men. Well, they're all over 55. Well, they all work at so-so. But it's very interesting exercise to see if they can identify what they have in common. And then the next exercise is tell me everything you know about that person that doesn't have anything to do with this area right here. So if it's Greg Anderson, how many grandchildren does he have? What's the last vacation he took? What tree does he love in the Uintas? Okay. What do you know about those people so that you can cultivate and reward those relationships? It's great to give somebody a coffee mug, but man, if you knew Christy Bolts was your patient and she was heading out on a bike ride, would you send her this?
I'd send you a tire pump and a patch kit.
Or shorts with a nice chamois, right? Okay. I was talking to my parents this morning. They're snowbirds. They spend half the year in Denver. They spend half the year in Arizona, and they're getting ready to head to Arizona. And they had some neighbors come over. My mom bakes for the whole neighborhood. And he showed up and he said, I don't bake, but I can shop. And my parents drink Dr. Pepper and Diet Coke like it's going out of style. And they brought them 2 6-packs of each for their road trip. And I went, brilliant. You don't have to give a patient an elaborate silver platter. Okay, just something that cultivates the relationship that says, I know you.
Yeah.
I see you. You matter to me in our practice. So that's number 2. You got to figure out who's in the first class cabin. And what are the 2 things you're going to do at the team meeting, Steve?
Well, number 1, you're going to hand your team a list of the top 20% patients and ask them what they have in common. And number 2, ask them what they know about those people beyond their teeth.
It's a great exercise.
I love it.
Right? And number 3, a little math problem, your word of mouth factor. Your word of mouth factor. Many a dentist comes to me and says, gosh, I know my patients love me. And I say, I know they do too. And then we look at the active patient count in 12 months. I don't care what they came in for, emergency visit, complete exam, full mouth reconstruction. We're counting them as one person. Okay, let's say 2,000 active patients in the practice. Now we go back to that new patient report and we look at how many came from patient referrals. Let's say it's 200. Well, that's easy math. That's 200 divided by 2,000. 10% of your active patient base is referring someone. Most people can't tell me what this is. So you need to at least step on the scale and know, and then set a goal. Is this something we want to increase? Okay. Many people, when they come to me, their word of mouth factor is kind of hovering around 2 to 3%. And we run the numbers and go, gosh, if we can take 12 months and get that to 5% or 8%, that's all the new patients we need. And oh, by the way, they're going to be all the awesome ones.
Right.
They're not going to be the ones calling saying, hey, how much is a crown? And can you do it for $650? Because this guy's got a coupon down the road that says he'll do it for $650. Okay. So new patient value, first class cabin, and word of mouth factor. 3 data points, 3 things real easy to do in this time of preparation and planning.
Love it. Thank you for the short course in horticulture. No,
I would say this, Christy. I have this kind of secret desire in my life only to work with people that I like.
Oh, okay.
We don't get to do that, but you are one of those. You are just a delight. And I'm sure that is a feeling felt by not just your family, but the people that you work with. And we appreciate you, your great, enthusiastic attitude for life, and what you bring to dentistry. Your clients are lucky.
I am thrilled to be part of the Crown Council, and my energy will be out in full force in January.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Good luck on the race over the next, week, right? You're going to be on the road for a week. So make sure, and you taking your GoPro with you?
I am taking all sorts of equipment. There may be a drone. There'll be some photography and videography.
Love it. Can't wait to see it. Thanks for
May
sharing.
it all be downhill.
May it all be downhill. Thanks, guys. Great to see you.
Thanks for sharing your wisdom, Christy. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
That is a That is a great woman.
Very
Had it
cool.
up. Well, Steve, we did pretty good.
Good hour. Thank you.
It's
And,
up. Any final ending comments before we call it a day?
No, all great advice on multiple fronts this afternoon. So I love doing these. They're always packed with great wisdom and great takeaways to make your practice and your life better. So thanks for joining us, and let's go build a culture of success.
Thank you, Steve. Talk to you soon.
Bye.